All right, any other opposition?
Yes. I just wanted to list that I oppose. I live in Stillhouse Creek.
State your name.
David Woodard. Thank you. One question I had was the amount of purchased homes have went down a lot, but I know in Stillhouse Creek there are tons of people that are renting homes. So I think in all the neighborhoods, once the neighborhood's built, there would be a purchase, and then obviously you can't, until you can rent it, you have to purchase it. So the purchase number would be higher whenever it was built. And now with the amount of renters in our neighborhood, I don't know about the other neighborhoods, but I imagine the amount of purchased homes would go down. Also, the schools are already having to build a sixth grade alone, so they're overwhelmed, and I imagine another neighborhood wouldn't help that.
Anyone else?
You couldn't hear it on the, you're going through the speaker.
That's pretty deep. I can't, I got a picture, but there's nothing moving.
We are streaming.
It is streaming.
I need to refresh it. I had to
You
stop.
may need to refresh it, Mr. Miller.
Okay.
All right, nope.
I'd like to give the petitioner an opportunity to address any of the issues that have come up since he was at the podium.
Okay, I got you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Just a few comments. When she talked about the timeline as far as approvals go, if you look at the timeline, and it's somewhere up there now, I know, you'll see that the comprehensive plan was adopted in November of 19, on December of 19. So that was rezoned after the comprehensive plan was approved by the Board of Supervisors. That's on that timeline. I'm sorry that I don't have a bunch of copies for that. She talked about the public need would be satisfied with the Sarton that land that was rezoned. As a home builder, I would love that. However, per our absorption rates that we received from an appraiser, where it is currently now is 9 homes per month. If that's the case, and if we could build them fast enough, if it's 60 lots, you're talking it would be built out in 7 months. So that doesn't even do a pinprick in the regard of the public need that's out there. And again, I want to emphasize something here that our opposition is very concerned on as far as traffic. Understand what's going on with traffic. 2023, we won't be ready until 2023. So the road enhancements that we've already talked about, the ones that I listed that have already happened, as well as the ones that are coming, I got those updates this week as far as where they are, as far as right-of-way acquisitions, starting dates, and finishing dates. Again, this is not tomorrow. It's not even in 2022. So we have time for these roads that are planned to do to go forward with.
Okay.
I have one question. What is the difference in the number of rooftops if this property stays in the R1? Are you interested, I mean, is that not an option? Development of the property as zoned R1, is that an option or not?
From a standpoint of an option or not, because number one, it's in the Bear Creek area. So with that, public sewer is available, which is a great thing. Bear Creek does a wonderful job, and I'm glad that sewer is provided. However, to go to an R1, you would have to provide sewer. Bear Creek would make you provide sewer to the R1 size homes. The infrastructure to put an R1 sewer system in that yields the small amount of lots is a price that a builder would not be willing to pay, nor would a consumer be willing to pay for the lot. So the specific number, I don't know, But I do know that the infrastructure cost alone does not yield it to where it'll be a marketable property at R1.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Eh,
If you look at Exhibit K, you will see an email from Mr. Weeks to me that says the Sarton property was rezoned before the zoning plan map was adopted. Y'all approved it, then like 3 days later, the county approved the comprehensive plan, and then in November, the Board of Supervisors affirmed your decision to rezone, but it was, you approved it before the zone. And whether or not the property should be zoned R1, or whether or not it's expensive to develop R1, that should have been argued before you adopted the official map. That's not a reason to rezone it from R1 to R2. That is a developer's problem. That is not a legal reason to rezone the property.
You're saying that she's correct, that the property was rezoned
I think the county,
The minutes are all there.
right, and if I'm remembering correctly, when it was approved in November for the comprehensive plan, land use plan, but it wasn't adopted by the board until after this date, I believe.
I think your meeting, you approved the rezoning was one day, and 5 days later, the Board of Supervisors adopted the comprehensive plan. But this property, you approved the rezoning before the plan was adopted.
This seems to be a critical point in your position. It's also, we're hearing two different things from
I mean,
the
I have the
petitioner.
minutes.
That's what I'm asking. What do the minutes,
They're attached to my exhibit.
so what your position is that the planning and zoning approved the rezoning
Of the Sarton property.
of the Sarton property before planning and zoning adopted the new.
Before the Board of Supervisors.
That's not my
Well, I
question.
don't remember. I'd have to look at,
That's what my question is. Did we approve the rezoning of the Sarton property before planning and zoning approved the rezoning plan, or approved the comprehensive plan?
Repeat that, please.
I'm not asking about the Board of Supervisors. I'm asking about P and Z. Did we approve the Sarton rezoning before or after we approved the comprehensive plan?
I think it's in that one.
this was November the 14th, that you approved the rezoning from A1 to R2 of the Sarton property.
And when did,
The board adopted on the 2nd of December.
The board adopted the comprehensive plan on the
No,
second.
that was the rezoning.
The Sarton rezoning. I think I have
there were 4 actions. The Planning and Zoning Commission took 2 of them, and the board took 2 of them. One was the approval of the rezoning, and one was the approval of the comprehensive plan. That's my question. When did Planning and Zoning approve the rezoning, and when did we approve the comprehensive plan?
Find the comprehensive
I don't know
plan.
when you did the comprehensive plan off the top of my head, but regardless, the Sarton property was never zoned R1 on the county's comprehensive plan.
I understand, and that's not my question.
Well, I mean, but that's his point, that this property is zoned R1, and should be changed to R2, just like the Sarton property was. Well, my point is, there's not been a change in the character since the map was adopted because the Sarton property was never zoned R1. So there's never been an R1, other than his other piece of property down the road, has never been rezoned from R1 to R2 in this area.
I understand, but I'm simply asking about the
I
timing.
don't-
You're saying one thing, the petitioner is saying another. I'm trying to clear up through
Yeah,
a
I don't-
review of the minutes. I'm just trying to clear up what the timing really is, because
Yeah, I don't know
it is
that.
what it is. It's not an opinion of when we pass those actions.
All right, we'll be moving along. Get a motion.
I'm actually, I'd actually like to get the answer to this question before I consider my vote. I mean, we got two people that are saying different things. I'd like to know what the accurate reading is.
Motion.
We're trying to find the answer to Bill's question, before we proceed.
It was in October. The October 24th minutes show the comprehensive plan was on the agenda. Can't see, it says you voted on it or not. I mean, you could pull up the video from the hearing, but I don't see where it says y'all voted on it.
I'm sure we did at some
It-
point.
'24. Barton property was filed October the 1st. When it was A1. No, that's not K. Yeah, A1.
All right, the board approved the comprehensive plan and land use plan in the zoning ordinance on November 18th, 2019.
2019?
Now, the minutes weren't approved until December.
That answers my question. We voted to approve the board meeting, the comprehensive plan on November
That
19th.
was when the board approved.
The board approved.
Okay. When did,
Planning commission, it was
October.
October.
That was what I just read you, the
so
October
we
20.
approved, we voted to approve the the planning, the comprehensive plan on October 24th. Is that what you're saying now?
That's what the minutes show. And the Sarton application to rezone was filed October the 1st.
Okay, but when was that application?
And then it was approved in November.
When
But
was-
but it was not the Sarton property has never been R1.
I understand what you're saying.
And so his statement that that property has been changed from R1 to R2 since the map was adopted is not true. Because it's never been R1.
Your position remains that the petitioner is outside the rules of the comprehensive plan.
The Sarton property is correct. It was done before.
Okay. I'm only trying to find out if that's the case. So far, nobody's been able to tell me when the Sarton property was approved by planning and zoning.
Well, no, I did tell you that.
You told me when they applied.
No, they applied October 1. At the November, which I have the minutes in my exhibit, at the November Planning Board meeting, you approved the rezoning of the Sarton property from agricultural to R2.
Okay, so on October 24th, planning and zoning approved the comprehensive plan.
Right,
In the November meeting, which was after we approved the comprehensive plan,
right,
we approved the rezoning.
correct.
Okay, that's not what, I may have misunderstood you, but I didn't think that's what you said before. I thought you said the approval of the rezoning occurred before the approval of the comprehensive plan.
It happened before the Board of Supervisors approved the
Right.
comprehensive plan.
Okay.
But my whole point is, it was never rezoned. It was never zoned R1 like this property. So there's not been a change in the character of the neighborhood around this property, changing anything from R1 to R2, except Mr. Shoemaker's other 40-something lots that are south of this property. He's trying to use this Sarton property as a change in the character of the neighborhood, and my point is, it does not show because it was done before the adoption of it's never been R1. So it's not the same as this property. He's trying to convince you there's been a change in the character of the neighborhood. Map was
So you're saying
adopted.
this map isn't correct?
I don't know what that map is. I hadn't seen it.
It shows all of the R2 properties.
I'm not saying that there aren't R2 properties around this property. That's not what you have to prove to change the rezoning. He has to show a change in the character of the neighborhood since the zoning map was adopted. That was in November. All those other subdivisions were already there. Now, why y'all said all these properties were R1, I have no idea. But that's what y'all did. And in order for him to get the rezoning changed, he has to show the neighborhood has changed since the adoption of the zoning map in November of 2019. And I'm saying he hasn't shown it for this area.
All right. All right, brothers? Any other questions?
He wants to make one more.
All right. This is the last one on this here.
Very fast. In hearing on your dates that you said. Sorry, where did I just put it?
I think we've established the dates, if that's the
The
only.
Sarton application was on October, this is on the planning and zoning timeline
Right.
that I gave to you, and it was from A1 to R2. When he applied on October 1, from A1 to R2, and I stated that, and it's on that sheet,
Right.
then you guys approved the comprehensive plan on 10/24, and then a few weeks later, you then approved the rezoning of the Sarton property. So the comprehensive plan was approved by you guys, and then you amended that essentially by approving that zoning. And then the Board of Supervisors adopted it. So just from a timeline standpoint,
Thank
I
you.
just,
All right.
thank you.
entertain any questions from the board? Motion?
I move we approve the rezoning.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we approve the rezoning. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Miller, that was for the LFP for approval of the zoning?
I vote yes.
Okay, you want to make sure you state that it was a change in the character of the neighborhood and everything that goes
Change
with
in the
that.
character.
All right. This time we'll close the public hearing.
Second.
Properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay.
I'm sorry, guys, who moved to close the public hearing?
Brown moved and Billings, approved. All right. You would private sign?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right.
You want to step forward?
Morning, gentlemen. Keith Dunham with Gator Sign Company from Macomb, Mississippi. I represent Craddock Oil from Macomb as well, and a local client here making a investment in your community here off of Calhoun Parkway. We seem to have ran into a conundrum with the county multi-tenant application. It's a gas station and also has lease tenant spots in it as well. So the county's sign ordinance for multi-tenant signage really didn't exist. So what we have done, we came up with a plan after talking with Mr. Weeks that the owner has to set a standard for the entire location. So basically what we have done is adopted the City of Madison's sign ordinance for the county. And we have written a code that the lease at the station or at the point of application will sign a agreement with the owner that he will abide by their code of standards that they have set forth for their location. This will be in accordance with the City of Madison as far as sizes, limited space usage, all of their square footage will be uniform. Nobody will have any big gaudy signs. It'll be professional, discreet, and in code with the City of Madison's sign ordinance. What county? I'm sorry. I keep saying city, but anyway, yeah. So the problem was that the county did not have a multi-tenant ordinance for the location of this station.
Yeah, this was this is the first instance from when since our ordinance changed that we run across this. So this is the first one of this section of the ordinance that we dealt with on this.
When it says the landlord has to approve it prior to the installation, the landlord?
Yes, they have to have a set of sign standards that go with a multi-tenant building now. And that's what he's presented to us, just to make sure that they adhere to these sign regulations that goes with our ordinance under 71505.
So that's correct.
So your purpose before us today is not to necessarily get approval on a sign, but to suggest that we add this to the zoning ordinance?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, it is part of our ordinance. It's just a requirement that the planning commission look at it and make sure it meets the standards that you think are fit for that. You know, sizes, colors, materials.
We can't get an approved sign permit for installation without your blessing.
Oh, okay. And this sign and everything will just blend in what?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It will be an Exxon station, so it's Exxon standards, and it'll be a monument style, low to the ground, multi-tenant. I mean, it's very professional. I have some proofs if you would like to see that.
Okay. Any questions? Sir?
So do we need to move that we, what? I'm not sure.
It's just that you accept the standards for their private sign standards
Okay.
for their little development.
Okay.
That's all it is. It's something in the ordinance that has to be approved by the planning commission. You don't necessarily have to approve their sign permits. That's not part of it. That goes through me. You just
Okay.
have to make sure these standards are what you want to see in the building down there.
I move we approve these standards as they've been submitted.
Please, I have a question.
I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
May I be recognized?
Yes.
Hi. I'm Lisa Williams. Just for commercial site, or would this phases into our ordinance, and what changes?
This is for any multi-tenant structure that's built now. So if it has, I think it's 3 or more, 3 or more commercial or industrial uses on a single lot. So they have, what, 3, 4 tenants?
Yes.
And that standard has to be applied to everything that's multi-tenant now that's being built. They have to provide a set of private sign standards to each development that we're seeing now. When they come up for the signs, I can't approve a sign unless they've met these sign standards through the planning commission and board.
Okay, you said being built now, so in current construction is when this would apply to anything that's still going up?
Yeah, we're gonna have quite a few of them come through probably.
Okay. My next question is, where is the accountability in the full process? Does said property owner then in turn over anything to the county for just a paper trail, or does that burden lie with?
To act on it, if I'm reading this correctly, that the board, let's see where it's on it.
The ultimate authority is with
Yeah, the sign permit shall not be issued until the board of supervisors have approved a sign standard. So if they violate those standards, it's in the board minutes that they violated it, and we can correct it at that time if they've not adhered to it. So they have to follow these standards.
We can correct at the time they've not adhered. So it's post-action if said property owner is not going to, for lack of a better word, enforce. Or am I not, does that make sense?
Is there a specific property that you're concerned with that's under construction right now?
Well, no, I'm just, someone always tends to say, I didn't know the policy, or I didn't understand. It never fails that there's a business that when they're approached or talked to, or Scott, even you and I have had these conversations, over the past few years. I guess I'm concerned about where's the accountability back to the business, commercial site owner.
Won't they have to apply for a separate sign permit?
Okay, all right.
This doesn't give anybody permission to just start putting up signs. You still have to apply for the permits.
Each individual tenant at his place will have to come and apply for a separate permit.
Each individual tenant, okay. Okay, that answers the question.
What he's got before us today is really just a provision that he's to his tenants.
Correct. That they have to follow a
Notifying
circumstance.
them.
Okay, that answers it. Each individual tenant will have to go through the process. Okay, that's where I was getting at. Thank y'all.
I move we accept these standards as they've been presented.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second that we accept the standards as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Miller, that was approval of the private sign standard.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Before you get away, what was your last name?
Dunham, Dunnam.
Got it, thank you.
And, sir, the Board of Supervisors meeting that you will have to go to for final approval
Yes, sir.
is March 1st.
March
9 a.m.
1st.
9 a.m., March 1st, right here.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate your time.
All right, Sherman Williams.
Good morning. My name's Greg Bonds. I'm with Benchmark Engineering and Surveying. I'm here on, if y'all have any questions or to discuss the Sherwin-Williams project. What we're proposing is to build a 4,000 square foot building on a half-acre site. It's at the end of the cul-de-sacs called Dee's Plaza. And it will be for Sherwin-Williams.
I know y'all don't care for such big ones.
You already have tenants.
Sir?
You have tenants already lined up yet?
It's strictly for Sherwin-Williams. The building is being built for Sherwin-Williams, yes, sir. The whole building, they'll take the whole building.
Just be Sherman Williams.
Yes, sir.
Is it going to be a retail thing?
Yes, sir. The majority of their business is really before most people are even leaving their house, because it's for contractors, but it will be open to the public as well.
What's your parking space size?
It meets it's the 9.5 by whatever the current county requirement is. We met that.
Square foot minimum, 9.5 foot width.
Yeah, the minimum width's 9.5 feet, I know. I think it's by 19 or, I'm not sure. We're not asking for any variances on parking or anything like that.
Any questions?
This bricked all the way around? Completely, or?
It's going to have brick on the bottom, then hardy board on the side. That's the proposal.
Hey, look at the elevations real quick.
Yeah, I didn't see any elevations in here.
we don't have an elevation in that set of plans. That's the civil site plans. We can provide one.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, we need some elevation. Because everything over there is pretty much brick.
Yeah.
That was my next question, is how does your half and half exterior fit with the rest of the businesses in the area?
I'm not really the right person to be asking that, I guess. We did the site plans. I'm a civil engineer, so I haven't really paid attention to the buildings in the area, but we can.
Will we get, Scott, do we get another shot at the building, or does it, once we approve the site plan, the building
If
is?
you approve it, I mean, the board can definitely determine that if they.
Well, I'd like to find out about the, putting brick all the way around, top to bottom. Is that an option, or is that a possibility? Does that make, that I think makes it more in the character of the neighborhood?
Go ahead.
Mac Monteith, I represent the ownership group for the development. The prototype is hardy board on 3 sides, and on the front there's a stone accent on the bottom. I would happily provide pictures. We've built this in a lot of upscale markets through Florida and Mississippi as well. There's a new one in Fondren that is very close in elevation to what this will look like. But hardy board it allows them to showcase their paint products on the outside as opposed to brick, which is a natural material. So with y'all's permission, I'd love to be able to stay with the hardy board.
Do you have any pictures of it?
I can make some pictures happen.
Could you spell your last name, sir?
Monteith is Monteith. And just pulled these up a moment ago. Can you give me just 1 second to
Sure.
dig?
Trying to remember what all was out there.
Waldridge has brought a lot of them up here. You have that west of 55. They don't.
Oh, okay. It'll blend in.
Okay. Yeah, I see. We'd like to.
You need to see it?
Could you send those to me just so I can add them in a minute? You can text them to me, Turner. Or email, either one.
Mine is too.
I move we approve the site plan.
Second.
Been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Mr. Miller, approval of site plan Sherwin-Williams.
Approved, yeah, aye.
March 1st board meeting, 9 a.m.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you all.
Addisonville.
I think they're going to be some people opposed. Bill, we amended our, Capital Body Shop withdrew theirs, so
Oh, I didn't realize.
yes, sir, I apologize for not telling you that. It's Madisonville Master Plan now.
Okay.
Good morning. My name is Jason Horton. I'm with H.D. Lane Associates, and I'm here to present the Madisonville Master Plan for the developer Jaguar LLC. The development will contain approximately 443 lots. It's situated in the Deerfield PUD with the R2 overlay, and it's on Yandell Road, just east of Bainbridge subdivision.
If I'm not mistaken, Jason, y'all are following that calculation for the lots, the density?
Yeah, the density is, for the R2 overlay is 4.1 lots per acre, and our density is 2.8.
But you followed that dimensional requirements as in the, under the PUD
That's correct.
zoning. You have a maximum residential development density, and they have met that, if I'm not mistaken, that 2.9.
They haven't?
They have.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Can't hear with this mask on. But this is, like he said, as part of the original Deerfield development, it's just a part of that PUD, and they are within those requirements of the PUD. I did have a lot of concerns from some people on the drainage, and I think that's what got a couple of people here, but I've had some phone calls on that. Have you, on the drainage, do you have any intentions to over-detain that area to?
That's something we'll look at when we do a study on it, just to see what the effects are on the system, and we will not cause any, detrimental impact to any property around us.
Because that's a big development, and there's going to be a lot of water.
That's right.
There's going to be a lot of detention on it. That seems to be where the concerns are coming from, is that detention.
Y'all haven't looked into the drainage?
Yeah, we have preliminary. As you can see on the layout, we've got areas that are set up for detention areas. And once we get into the construction or design of it, then we can get more detailed in the actual numbers of what's there.
Yeah, we just had a board meeting the other day with a lot of discussions on flooding in Canton. Of course, that's upstream. So, that's a concern here in Canton too, and everything that flows down, it flows into Bear Creek. And Bear Creek, our problem here in Canton. So, these questions are gonna get brought up by the, county engineer, the board of supervisors.
Right.
At some point, and they're gonna have a lot of concerns over how this drainage is gonna affect downstream.
Any questions?
A
opposition?
little bit more study.
No, I mean, it's preliminary. I mean, all that stuff will be worked out with the board and the county engineer.
Oh.
They are within their, rights to develop the PUD in this stage. They're just presenting the master plan, showing what they have.
My name is Henry Davis. I live at 155 Landview Drive, which this development backs up to. We've been out there for a little over 20-something years. And our concern was the drainage, not necessarily, I know they're going to detention the drainage from the subdivisions. We saw some of the preliminary plat, and they got a bunch of detention there, but ours was the way the subdivision goes and makes an L shape behind our property, and the drainage from our land on our road goes to a creek that kind of backs up to that. And our concern was how our water was going to get now as it is, but we've been living with it because it's just natural runoff. We've talked to him, and he's going to come out when they start doing the engineering stuff and look at it to see how we can control that drainage. So that concern's going to be taken care of when they start developing and everything. Another concern we had is noise pollution, not necessarily from the subdivision, but from us. If I've got a wood shop, I do some work at night. If I'm out there at 10 o'clock at night working in my shop, I don't want to be interrupting them, the neighborhood. So talking about trying to put a berm or something between us and them, but that'd be something we'll have to look at during the development process. That was
Like some buffer zone.
yeah, some kind of buffer. We tried to, we bought the land behind us to try to, we knew it was coming, to try to leave some trees there to buffer it, but if it's something we can do extra to keep our noise and their noise, you know, to a normal deal. So we have no opposition to the subdivision at all. We knew it was coming, but it's just some of the concerns that need to be taken care of.
Thank you.
You with him?
He's with me.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Is that something you would consider a uncut buffer in that area, or is it, what's there now? Are there trees and there are, is that something that you would look into?
Yes, we can definitely look into that.
Okay.
I know the draining is really gonna have to, you probably need more than one little detention in that area because the water, it's already flooding in that area. So.
I think there are, what, 3 detention ponds on this?
Yeah, we've got,
One big one. One
Yeah.
real big one.
we've got 3 detention areas that are set up to help control runoff.
There'll be a lot of study on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? I entertain.
I move we approve the master plan.
Second.
We moved and properly second that we approve the master plan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Approval of the master plan for Madisonville, Mr. Miller?
Thank you, sir.
March 1st board meeting, Jason. March 1st board meeting, 9 a.m. I did make a mistake on the agenda. The 11th is the second Thursday in March. I put everywhere. My bad. I was just joking with Andy. I make a mistake on every one of them, and I didn't think I saw it. I missed that one, and he caught it. I missed it twice. Set date for March.
Do you need a motion for that?
So is that the 11th? It's gonna be,
March 11th. The day is correct. The month is
oh,
wrong.
yeah, it's February. You need a motion.
Yeah, I move that March 11th, 9 a.m.
Second.
It's moved and properly second.
Aye.
Next date is March 11th. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
March 11th meeting date, Mr. Miller.
And
You wanna adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second? Adjourn.
Move to adjourn the meeting, Mr. Miller.